Guys, thanks for joining me again. I want to show you 3 licks today that are really easy to play, but can fill up an entire solo. So I'm in the key of E, and I'm going to be coming up here where I play, my minor pentatonic scale. And this is where this first lick is going to come from. This is the same place you can kind of play your F shape. And if you notice when you're playing this F shape right here, with your finger laid flat across the 12th fret, these 2 fingers are holding the B and the E of the 12th fret, and this allows you to do that real stereotypical blues lick, and that's if you bend this 14th fret of the G string and then hit the 12th on the B and the E string. This is that typical kind of Johnny B. Good lick. So lots of neat things that you can do inside of just that lick, but if we carry it a step further, we can go up into our House of Blues box, or our Albert King box, as some people call it. And some people call it the minor pentatonic extension. Doesn't matter what you call it. Just know that you have this shape up here that's also part of this minor pentatonic scale. So if we start right here, bend this 14th fret of the G string, hit the 12th fret on the B and the E, and then we're going to hit this 15th fret on the B string and slide up to the 17th fret. So together that sounds like this. And that's a really cool lick just in and of itself. Real typical blues and rock lick right there. And if we come up here on the high E string, we can bend this 17th fret of the E string, release it down to the 15th fret, and then back to our 17th fret of the B string. This is ending on that E notes. And you can bend this 17th fret, of that E string as much as you want, before you kind of resolve back and finish that lick. And I first heard this lick from Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's a typical, Stevie Ray Vaughan type of lick right there. But when you add all of these together, it makes that real typical ear-catching blues or rock lick. So when I say that you need to experiment around with these licks and kind of make them your own, play around with different combinations, these are the sort of things I'm talking about. You can take this, lick right here, but that first part can be a cool lick in and of itself, or sliding up here, is a nice addition to that lick. But then, instead of just, say, bending that 17th fret and immediately ending it, you can sit there and bend that 17th fret as much as you want to. So experiment around with different combinations of these licks. Lots of neat little licks just inside of one that you might know. So anytime that I'm playing or anytime I'm learning a lick, I learn a lick, like that, and I'm thinking to myself, I really like the sound of that, so that might be a lick, just in and of itself. Or, I kind of like sliding up there, but maybe I do that. Maybe I go back and forth between these E notes right there. I kind of like that as a lick. Or, I like that, bending of the 17th fret, but instead of hitting it cleanly, I might, put my hand down and kind of palm mute these strings and kind of, rake across the strings before I hit that 17th fret. So think about all the different combinations you can find just inside of one lick, and this will, you're only learning one lick, but you're practicing it in different ways. You're practicing different variations. I tend to think of all of those as one lick. They're just different kind of variations on the same lick. So that really keeps you from having to learn a ton of different licks if you can just find different variations of some really simple ideas. So the next lick that I did in this solo was come back down here in my regular minor pentatonic scale, and I was bouncing between the 14th fret of the G string and the 12th fret of the G string, But in between there, I was kind of cheating and doing kind of a pseudo chicken picking type of thing. Now you can do this with your pick, but I'm going to show you how to do it with your pick and your finger. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of palm muting this open D string. And I don't really want a note because that D will sound a little bit off since I'm in the key of E. But in between those notes, in between the 12th fret and the 14th fret of the G string, I'm hitting this open D string with my pick, but remember I'm muting it. And then to end it, I'll end on this 14th fret of the D string because that's my E note. But again, you can find lots of variations. It's up to you on what rhythm you want to throw in here. You know, but I'm kind of given that pseudo chicken picking kind of sound just by kind of muting this D string and kind of hitting it in between these, you know, in between the actual notes. And if you want more of that chicken picking sound, then you can turn to just the bridge pickup. It will give you more of that chicken picking type of sound. And don't think that you have to play this just like this on these strings. Experiment around with this idea of kind of, hitting these kind of ghost or palm muted notes. Experiment around on different strings and different little licks that you know. It's a really interesting sound to throw in to your playing, no matter what kind of music you're playing. Chicken picking doesn't have to be in country. I throw it in blues and rock and lots of other stuff. Now, the third lick that I did was, instead of being here in my minor pentatonic scale, I moved that same idea down 3 frets and I was in my major pentatonic. But if I'm going to be in my major pentatonic, my root note has changed. It's now here on the 9th fret of the G string. This is my E note now. And I was just kind of playing around between the 9th fret and the 11th fret of the G string. And then that ending lick, I bent that 11th fret up on the G string. And then I went 9, 10, 11, 12 on the B string. So bent that 11th fret on the G string again, and then ended on my E note, this 9th fret of the G string. So real slow, this sounds like this. And I know that you've heard that lick before. It's in a ton of songs. But it's a really neat way to kind of end a lick or throw it in a lick somewhere. It's a really interesting sound, but not that difficult to play considering you're just going 1 fret at a time. You're walking chromatically up and then ending back on your root note. So those are 3 really easy licks that'll fill up an entire solo. Experiment around, again, make them your own. Really cool ideas, but lots of neat variations inside of these. So I hope that you enjoy these. I hope you get some use out of them. If you want to support the channel, hit like, subscribe, share. All of those things help. You can become a Patreon member. The link's in the description. Or stream some of my music. My new album, Ball Cap Blues, just dropped a few weeks ago. It's been doing really well, and I appreciate y'all for all the love, all the support. I couldn't do this channel without y'all. And if you need something, remember, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you.